Welcome back, everybody, to the ECL Pro here at SportsGamer.gg. I'm Tegan, it's King Lime Blair. He is Brandon B. Major Bigsby, and we are back with two more games here, Brandon. And we're going to continue following HanaaHC with a different competitor in Almtuna Esport.
Yeah, we saw HanaaHC play pretty well against a tough Pasilan team, but now they get a hungry Almtuna team that is coming off of a championship in the ECL core division, found their way through the qualifiers in the ECL Pro, looking to establish themselves, make a name for themselves. What better way to do that than to go in and potentially beat a mainstay in this division in HanaaHC, but we know they're going to have to say something about that. It's going to be really fun to watch.
I couldn't have said it any better myself, Brendan. They are going to be lacing them up tight tonight. As the competitor against HanaaHC is going to be a good one. Let's go over and pop in and take a look at the latest results, Brandon, as we do have a couple updates here in the ECL Pro.
Yeah, things ever changing in the ECL Pro division as games happening right as this broadcast goes on. So results changing, the standings moving up and down and doing a little bit of that shifting that we talked about. And you see that right on your screen with the two results that we covered here in the last hour and change, with HanaaHC winning their first two games 4-0 and 3-1. And then the series between Arctic and Geeks Energy Esports having a very interesting result. Arctic winning 8-2 to start out, and then Geeks Esports winning 1-0 in the next game. So it just kind of goes to show you, anything can happen. Things can change in an instant. The ECL Pro Division, everyone, where chaos ensues everywhere.
You never know when somebody's going to put their hat on tight, Brandon. That looks like that's what happened there, as we get an 8-2 matchup, flip for a 1-0. Well, let's take a look, as that was in Group 1. So why don't we pop over and take a look at the standings of Group 1. As you said, it's ever-changing, and people are going up and down all the time.
Yeah, and you see that with HanaaHC. Like we mentioned, they pick up those 4 points from those 2 wins. All of a sudden, they go from being in 7th to being in 3rd, and if they pick up at least 2 more points, they'll have possession of first as of now over Sinister. So a lot to play for them. While on the other side, you see Almtuna Esport. They're only 4 points out of being on the left side of that bracket. So if they're able to come in, shock everybody potentially, and beat Hana in both games, they can find themselves from 14th all the way to being as high as 8th, depending on how results shake out. So with it being so early, hopes being high, the slate clean, and results and standings points being pretty much all in striking distance of one another, each game counts so much to set yourself up in the best position as we get deeper and deeper as the season goes. You're seeing that right now, especially in Group 1 as we enter into Group 2.
As we see Group 2, you're exactly right, Brandon. And then in Group 2, Philadelphia Academy at the bottom with 3 points. Deadly Phantoms at the top with 14. It's not a far swing. It's very easy to climb up.
Yeah, and it's a little bit interesting with Group 2 because a lot of these teams have not played the most games. So you mentioned Philadelphia Academy, a team, the lowest team in the standings. Well, they've only played 4 games. That is 4, maybe even 6 less than some of the teams ahead of them. You say they win maybe 3 of those games, that's about 6 points. All of a sudden, they find themselves all the way to about 4th or 5th. So all of this can change, and that goes for a ton of other teams. Voxtail Lakers, Visu Gaming, Ghetto Firebirds, all of those teams could find themselves moving up the board as these games go in and as these results change. And like we said, it's why it's so important to win those games in hand, to win as many games early on in the season so you can set yourself up in a good position when that playoff push really starts to get deeper and deeper.
We have 2 teams that we are going to be focusing on now here, Brandon. It is going to be HanaaHC, as we're going to continue with them, and they're going to be taking on Almtuna.
Yeah, and you saw HanaaHC stats in the first matchup and were impressed. Well, look at them now after their 2 games that we saw earlier here today. 23 goals for, 12 against, and that power play sky high at a 38.46%. They've been one of the more impressive teams in the pro division. They've shown why. While from Almtuna Esport, we talked about them making that jump from the core division to the pro division, something that you don't really hear often. Qualified their way in through the pro qualifiers and were maybe a little bit of a surprise to make it through to this point, and they wanted to come in and make a statement. Haven't really had that ideal start they were hoping for, but there's a lot of games ahead of them. Just have to hope they can elevate their level of play and improve on things as they start to adjust to this higher level of competition.
All right, well, let's see who's going to be doing it for either side as we pop over to the lineups here, Brandon. We are going to stick with Hana, as we said. It's going to be Mika at center, Laiku on left wing, Hazard Laser on right wing, Yuki's on lefty, Ripke Sari on righty, and the amazing goaltender of Esko Atika in between the pipes. And as we take a look over at Almtuna, it is going to be Beast Ben at center with Jazze on left wing, Bastion on right wing, Krillette on lefty, Roar is going to be on the right hand side with Your Horo in between the pipes, and Mika and Beast Ben on the head to head center is a great one to look at here, Brandon.
That's going to be really interesting to watch. I got to see Beast Ben up close and personal during their core final matchup, and he was the guy that was all over the ice, especially defensively. He can really do wonders for this Almtuna team as a good two-way center, but he's going to have his hand full with Mika. Not only the guy that really can put the puck in the net, but maybe the most stylish guy in ECL Pro, rocking the fedora, showing the swagger. You can see why, with the way he played there in those first two games, Almtuna is going to have to do everything they can to put him down and keep him at bay.
He plays with the hat on. That's why he got the hat trick. As we pop over and take a look at our wingers on either side.
And, you know, we kind of talked about this forward trio of Hana a little bit in the first segment, but this is a team that returned all three forwards from a really good scoring team last season in ECL Pro, and we've kind of seen why so far this season, while for Almtuna, a little bit of a different lineup in terms of the two wingers with Beast Ben compared to what they had last season when they won that core championship. So a team with chemistry versus a team trying to get their feet under them a little bit and getting things going a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see that, because Almtuna going to have to be able to score to keep up with this Hana team. We saw in the last game, unfortunately, for the opposition of Hana, they were not able to do that. Almtuna got to hope their fortunes are a little bit different.
They will for sure. As we pop over and take a look at the defense, we know Ripke Sari can score, as him and Yuki's did that. We're going to see what we get out of Krillette and Roar.
And, you know, it's going to be interesting, too, to watch how Almtuna, not sure if they maybe watched our first two games, but maybe they picked up a few tendencies from Hana. It's not often that we get to cover broadcasts where we see the same team for all four games. We kind of saw where we saw adjustments that they had to adjust to. Hana, that is, that Pasilan made. Maybe Almtuna kind of watched, did a little bit of homework, and see themselves maybe collapse a little bit in front, shut down that breakout, especially on the right side, and kind of try to hone in on that specifically to make Hana a little bit uncomfortable from what they're used to doing. Going to be a lot of fun to see how they do, because that defense really going to have to step up for Almtuna to have a chance.
As we pop over and take a look at the goaltenders, as we are going to get a goaltending change, as my guy Esko Atika is actually going to be on the oxygen tank in the ice bath after those two amazing games he played. And we're going to actually get a look at Simbano tonight.
And it's a well-deserved break, to say the least. We saw one stellar goaltender. I'm sure we're going to see another. As an absolutely stellar performance from Esko Atika, but Simbanho, he's a guy that can really step up, and he actually played more games last week than Esko Atika did, and he played well. That 82.4 save percentage, 1.50 goals against average, and he won 3 games last week as well. So from one great goaltender to the other, it just does not stop with the HanaaHC team, so deep from top to bottom.
With one of those games being shutouts as well, Brandon. So been very, very good here for HanaaHC. Both goaltenders playing amazing. You're going to have to take a look out for Beast Ben. He's got 6 points in his 8 games played. He is leading his respective team.
Yeah, we kind of talked about how we saw them in that quarterfinal, and Beast Ben was a big reason that they were able to win that. Well, he's going to be the guy that's going to have to step up for this team. He's one of the consistent parts that comes back from that team. Almtuna had a few changes in that forward group from the team last season to this season. That one consistent piece is at the center. You're kind of seeing him step up. He's going to have to do that and then some against a team in HanaaHC that's been so good. They have a lot of momentum rolling for themselves. And like we said, Almtuna, maybe not the best start, but That's what's so fun about the beginning of the season. They have everything ahead of them. You get a few wins going, you get on a roll. All of a sudden, instead of being on the right side of the board, you're on the left side of the board and right in the thick of the playoff picture. Like we said, doesn't matter how early it is, you want to be on the right side of that board.
And this is a statement team to do it against. You go ahead and you win both of these games against HanaaHC. The word gets around, and people start to grip their controllers a little harder getting into a matchup against you.
And I think that's what's so fun about this Almtuna team is because, like we said, they won that championship last season and actually pulled a quote from their social media, their GM saying this to begin with it. He said, "We know we're in a tough one this season, but we're going to try our best at all times. We have faith in our own capabilities to perform well in every game, and we wish the best of luck to all their opponents." So they're not just here to play. They're not just here to compete. They want to win. They want to make a statement. Like you said, Tegan, what better way to do that than to beat a team like HanaaHC?
Maybe they'll climb up into the ECL Elite, which is the regular season for week 1. You can join good friends of mine, Cody, Toogie Toog S, and Paul Sinlewin Anderson, as they're going to be casting some amazing hockey coming up here on Wednesday, Brandon.
Yeah, and this is going to be really fun to watch, especially that Fallon Coal Miners team, a team that recently came back after a few-year hiatus, and they're another team. We're talking about making statements. That's a team that would love to make a statement on the broadcast here at twitch.tv/sportsgamergg, and that's going to be a matchup I'm really looking forward to. But we have business at hand here, don't we, Tegan? HanaaHC and Almtuna Esport starting up.
As the game has started, you see your respective lineups in the bottom left and right-hand corner of your screen. Almtuna is going to be in red, where we have Hana in white. They won their last game. 2 games, I guess, and we'll look to get a third here, as that puck's going to be wrapped around the outside. And back to the point. Shot is on. Big toe save, and it's going to be taken out by Krilletti. Bastion loses it. And here's Rip Kesari. Rip Kesari bringing that puck out for Hana. Back over to Yuki's at the left-hand side, looking for Hazard Laser, but it's all the way down, and Almtuna going to bring it out. Beast Ben. Ben fighting for it. He gets it right back. Goes over to Roar into the middle of the Bastion. The Bastion turns that puck over, and it's going to be back out to the neutral zone. There's Roar with it for Almtuna. Roar holds up at the line. Tried to get away from Laiku, but Laiku doing a good job to get that puck back. He comes into the zone and shoots, and deep in his net was Yohoru, but a great save.
Those are the type of saves that Almtuna is going to need. We kind of talked about how the front end for them where it's going to have to step up big, but another guy is going to have to step up is their goaltending in Yoharu. So this is going to be really interesting. Another big save there from him, and that's a great way to get started against a really good and dangerous scoring HanaaHC team.
And there's a big goal by Hana. It's going to be Laiku on the one-timer, Brandon, and you said it, dangerous scoring as soon as they get one.
It doesn't take them long, does it, Tegan? They go in, they get something going, and all of a sudden, just like that, there's a score on the board in a matter of minutes. They don't waste much time, and we talked about it in the last series. We'll talk about it plenty more in this one, I'm sure. When they get into the offensive zone and establish themselves, they are so hard to stop with the way they're able to cycle it around, get those quick passes, and spread the defense out. When they get that space and get that quality opportunity, more times than not, they're going to capitalize on it just like they did right there.
Yeah, Laiku has been a very, very important part of HanaaHC on the breakouts in the offensive zone, and he continues here on the forecheck, but the puck's going to be taken away by Ebastion. Ebastion down the right-hand side. Gets that one ahead to Ben. Ben, along the hash marks, walks in and shoots, but a nice, easy save for Simban Ho. His face-off here in the offensive zone for Almtuna, looking to get a little bit of a face-off play as that one's won back, and Krillette fires that over the net. Here's Laiku. Laiku, what a pass as he saucers that across to Hazard Laser, returning the favor from game number 2 this evening. That was gorgeous.
Not just Hazard Laser, but a scoring hazard as well, as Almtuna learned right there. And we just said it, Tegan, it doesn't take them long. They do so yet again right there. Just a quick play off the entry. Barely even really got the zone established. First chance they got when they entered in the zone. They capitalized and found the way to break past the goaltender and Yoharu. And now Almtuna are really going to have to find an answer quick because HanaaHC really just grasping the momentum by their horns quick.
Good spin pass as Hana is just building and building and building on what they did in games 1 and 2. As good interception by Almtuna as Ebasham is almost off to the races, but here goes Hana. Good give and go pass, but it's off a skate and on the left-hand side, Hazard Laser goes back to the point. Rip Sari plays that one back over to Laiku for the one-timer. That one's blocked by Roar. Roar, D-to-D over to Krillette up the left-hand side, Jazzy. Jazzy drops that one back to Roar. Roar between the legs, nice move to get around a couple checks, but they go up the right-hand side to Laiku. Brandon, we know they love to do that. It's in the middle to Mika, it's poked off, and Ben gets that one back to Krillette. Here's Roar. Up on the right-hand side, switching spots with Ben. Ben looking for that cut pass. He goes off a skate, and it's a 2-on-1 the other way. Laiku with Hazard Laser. Hazard Laser all alone. Backhand, he hits the post. And Ben trying to get that one out, and Brandon, Hana has just continued to pour it on. They continue here as the puck behind the net, looking for a cut pass out front's given away, but it's held in by Rip Sari. Mika looks for Laiku. Mika picks it back up, and all action here from Hana and Almtuna and SportsGamer.gg.
It's been all action, and a lot of it has been all HanaaHC so far. They have been dominant in the offensive zone. You saw a glimmer there from Almtuna on that breakout. It was a beautiful play that they got into the offensive zone, just weren't able to establish themselves in the offensive zone, and they're going to have to find a way to fix that. Down 2-0 early. Can't get back in this game if you don't get offense going. With the way HanaaHC is playing, scoring going to be of the highest importance because HanaaHC, they are heated up right now.
Roar tries to move that one ahead, but Almtuna struggling to get into Hana territory. Neutral zone plays here for Hana. Good passing as they get through, but that one's going to be offside.
It's going to be really interesting to see what kind of approach Almtuna takes with 31.5 left. We saw in game 1 in the first series, HanaaHC, they were able to get a goal in the last minute of the first period. Maybe Almtuna, if they can push enough, find a goal here to maybe cut this deficit in half.
There's a big hit in the right-hand corner. It's going to draw a penalty, though, Brandon, and Hana's going to go to the power plays. Maybe a behind-the-scenes hook that we missed there is... I thought it was the bump, but oh, that's unfortunate there for Almtuna.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's the captain and Beast Ben who took that penalty, and it's not what Almtuna needed there, trying to get themselves back into this game. We talked about how maybe with less than a minute left, they could get a chance to get some positive momentum going into the second period. Well, a step backwards there, giving Hana a chance to maybe take advantage and really increase their lead going into the second.
It's a great save to make sure it's only a 2-0 game. Speaking of positivity, want to give a big thank you to Tapu TK for the raid, bringing in 35 viewers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, as we are here at the ECL Pro week number 2, as we are watching Almtuna against Hana. Hana won their first 2 games to get you guys caught up, and they are up 2-0 here against Almtuna Esport.
Yeah, and you know, it's been interesting to kind of watch HanaaHC work, going from one opponent to the other, and it just feels like it's been business as usual for these guys. It feels like they just keep going, they keep playing their game, and nothing really seems to shake them from that too much. And even when they do kind of get thrown off course a little bit, like we saw in game 2 in the first series, they find ways to adjust. So I think if you're Almtuna, the question is, how can you kind of shake them off of that rhythm a little bit and get them playing more to your grasp, I guess, the way you want them to kind of play more into your own hands. As we saw it, only one shot on net, 52 seconds of time on attack. Have to find a way to get into the offensive zone, get something going, and just slow down the forward momentum that HanaaHC has gotten going for themselves.
Here we are in period number 2. We're going to start off with a little 4-on-4 hockey, as you see your respective teams and lineups in the bottom left and right hand corner of your screen. We are watching Almtuna going up in red. HanaaHC coming down in white. Hana leading 2-0 at SportsGamer.gg ECL Pro. As Hana's going to go back to work here. Lots of ice out there, Brandon. 4-on-4 hockey. Mika looks back to the point. That one's going to go all the way down.
I love that you mentioned that. You kind of question if it benefits a team like Hana that really does well with that open ice. Should be interesting to see if they maybe take advantage of that.
Puck is going to be brought in. Good poke check there by Jazzy. That's good work here in the offensive zone by Hana. They go back to the point. Rip Kesari looks down low for Mika. Mika gets hit hard off the puck by Roar. And Roar, a very offensive player here for Almtuna on the defensive end. And that is something we do see a lot here in the ECL.
Yeah, you'll see the defensemen kind of push up a little bit when they see that opportunity, and more times than not, they have that communication with their winger, whether it be on the left side or the right side. It just kind of depends on which one you prefer. They'll have that communication where the defenseman will go up, almost play that forward spot, and the winger will switch positions and go back. We see that a lot in the ECL, not just in the pro division, but in elite, in core, in light. When teams have that cohesion with one another, it can really pay off in dividends because you don't expect that, and you kind of throw a different look at your opposition that way.
Couldn't agree with you more, Brandon. And it is awesome to see Hana as it doesn't really matter what team it looks like. They are just continuing to put the pressure on. It doesn't matter who's in front of them. They play their game.
And I think that's what makes them such a good team. And it's what we kind of talked about earlier. When they're able to play their game, it does kind of make it not impossible, but it makes it so difficult to play against them, let alone beat them. We saw the struggles in the first series that their opponent had in Barcelona. They weren't able to stop them from playing their own game, and even when they did, they adjusted. Almtuna, with this being the first game of the series, adjusting to the pro competition. It's been a little bit of a struggle to start out, so we'll see how they continue to improve, how they continue to adjust and get better. But HanaaHC, when they're playing the way they are right now, it just kind of goes to show you why they are such a good team and why they are in that conversation, maybe make that jump to elite next year and win the pro championship come playoff time.
Well, we are back to, what is it, our great friend Nick DeMeo says 5-on-5, 6v6 hockey, as I know he's got a commentator he takes that from. As a big shout out to Nick F5 Penguin, absolutely amazing guy and great casters. That puck on the left-hand side is going to be fought for. Here's Jazzy, gets that one down low to Ben. He tries to wrap that out front as Almtuna looking to build, as they didn't get much on the power play there, Brandon, is Hana gets that one up. They like to Laiku on the right-hand side. Laiku walks in, looks back door. It's going to be intercepted by Krillette. And maybe they were watching the first two games here, Brandon, as Mika plays that over to Rip Kesari. Down low, it's going to be wrapped around. What a passing play, but a better save there by Yoharu.
Oh man, and what a great play there from Yoharu. And I was just going to say, Almtuna, they've kind of done one check off of the checklist of slowing HanaaHC down a little bit from that relentless scoring we saw from them in the first. Now they need to find a way to get on the board themselves and get some offensive momentum generated, because if Hana goes up 3-0, it's really going to be a tall task to come back.
As a breakaway pass missed, Bastion was gone there, Brandon. I was just about to jump in and cut you off, but it ended up being a disconnected pass, and Hana goes back to work behind the net. Roar moves that one up to Ben. Ben, left-hand side over to Jazzy. Good drop pass for Krillette. He gives that one away, though, and Hana carries out. It's off a skate. Good puck support, though, as that one pops into the left-hand corner. Great forward check here by Almtuna, and I think they need to keep more on this and keep Hana in their own zone, as make Simbano make saves like that, as that was a great save from the point. Another glove save as he flashes the leather on that one, and Brandon, Almtuna just needs to keep doing just that.
Yeah, just put the puck on net and give yourselves opportunities to just try to get something past HanaaHC here. We kind of saw in the first series where they kind of had to fend that off a little bit. It's a goal there from Almtuna. Maybe that's what the doctor ordered, Tegan.
That isn't the doctor orders. It's Bastion is going to come in and get a goal from in front. And Simbano gets a piece of that, but just not enough, Brandon. It goes off his lower blocker and in. That's a gorgeous goal. And Almtuna gets themselves right back halfway closer to that deficit.
They cut the lead in half, too, and we kind of talked about they were fending off HanaaHC well after that really hard charge they had to begin this game. They get what they need to get back into it. Now, Almtuna maybe feeling momentum a little bit. Let's see if they can keep this going and really take it.
Puck wrapped around down low. Almtuna Trying to get another one as that backhand by Ebastin. He tried to get 2 goals within the time at 2 minutes, Brandon, but a great save by Simbano.
Yeah, Simbano, he has been really solid for this team at HanaaHC so far. Obviously, not a lot that you can do there on that last goal that he let up, but Almtuna, how about that right now? Getting some momentum going. We're going to have to see some goaltending that we saw from HanaaHC in the first 2 games from Simbano, because Almtuna HC really starting to kind of get that momentum and starting to see some shots go in. So this is going to be really interesting to watch. Do we see a repeat of what we saw in game 2, or does Almtuna find a way to kind of fend themselves back and get back into this game to tie it up?
Little give and go play by Hana to try and get back into things with under 3 minutes to go here in this second period in the ECL Pro. Game number 3 of the evening. We have one more coming up as Hana won the first 2. They're looking to scrape up another W here, but not if Almtuna has anything to say about it. As that one's going to be dumped in. What a pass over to the left-hand side. Hazard Laser looks back to Rip Kesari as they love to go back to the point. They saw one-timer goals from both D in the first series. As Yuki's got one, so did Rip Kesari. There's that pass they love so much up to Laiku, but it goes off his skate. Here's the Bastion. Nice pass into the middle. Everybody forces. Shot is on Simbano with a great save. And that might take us to the intermission. It does, and I think that Almtuna has stepped up here in this second period, Brendan. If they continue to turn it up in the third, we're going to have a great period ahead of us.
Oh, they've stepped up and then some, Teagan. We kind of talked about in the first period, it was all about Hana, how they dominated that first period, and really how Almtuna didn't really seem to have any answers to start things out, but the more the game went on and the more they started to adjust and the more they got their feet under them, the better Almtuna has gotten as minutes and seconds have passed by. So now they find themselves in a situation, ignore the score on your screen, 2-1. They had 8 shots alone in that, or excuse me, 8 shots here in the game, 7 of them alone in that second period, and most of their time on attack in that second period as well. So Almtuna, better team in period 2, and now they find themselves into a situation where they have 20 minutes ahead of them to not only tie this game up, but with the way they're playing and applying pressure, and even more importantly, the way they're holding Hana from getting chances, they can maybe even find not just the goal to tie it, but the goal to take the lead. So still a lot of work to do, but really encouraging signs for any of the Almtuna esports fans, and especially the players here in this game. Should be a thrilling third period here in this game.
Hey, you know what? If they keep playing like this, Brandon, I'm going to get myself a Tuna t-shirt as we're here at Sports Gamer GG at the ECL Pro. As you see the respective lineups in the bottom left and right-hand corner of your screen, Almtuna going up the ice in red, HanaaHC coming down the ice in white. Want to give a thank you to our amazing sponsors at Kovalan Lakritsi, Wilhelm, and ST Hockey as we get started here in period number 3. That one's going to be dumped up the right-hand side, and Ebastin, the goal scorer, coming in, waiting up for his mates as he was waiting for Jazzy. It ends up back at the point. That one's shot on, and Simbano steers it to the right-hand corner. Mika ahead to Hazard Laser. Hazard Laser has it poke checked off his stick. Jazzy goes back to Roar, and Roar works the puck out. Roar, very offensive. He gives that one away to Laiku. Wrong guy to give it to. Laiku out front. Hazard Laser brings it in, but a blocker saved by Yohoru as he's made great crucial saves tonight, Brandon.
Oh, and that's another one there. We said Yohoru was going to have to step up for Almtuna to have a chance. Well, how about another big save after goal? Is a great turnover to turn into a chance for HanaaHC, and that big save turning into a potential opportunity for Almtuna. Now the question is, can they take advantage of it?
Here's Ben on the left-hand side, drops that one back to Krillet, who works it up to Jazzy. Jazzy trying to get an entry, but a lot of HanaaHC players there as they don't want to give up another one and turn this into a tie game. Roar trying to force that one ahead to Ebastin. He can't, but a good job on the dump. And Almtuna comes up with it. Ebastin. We see Roar in deep as the defenseman coming in and trying to do it all himself, but he can't force that one in short side. Here's Ben covering for him, goes back to Krillet, who takes it all the way down low, and they work it out again on the breakout. Over to Roar. Roar gives it away again to Laiku. Laiku all alone, and a great toe save by Yohoru. As remember that one if Almtuna comes back, Brandon.
Oh, bookmark that one indeed. If Almtuna is able to tie this game, that was the save to make a difference, as the next goal could very well decide this one. Yohoru with another huge save for Almtuna.
Jazzy puts one on. 2 huge saves from Simbano. As he's going to have to be perfect from here on out with goaltending at the other end like that. As Ben trying to force that puck up the ice for Almtuna. It gets its way to Bastion into the middle, and he can't force it in on the forehand. Was Jazze Simbano with another great save as we're heating up with under 8 minutes to go here in this 2-1 hockey game for Hana. Here's Rip Quesadi. Quesadi back over to Yuki's. Yuki's into the middle to Mika. Mika trying to get that one over to Hazard Laser. He can't force it through, and here goes the goal scorer for Almtuna. Trying to get that one down low, but he can't get it through. The puck's going to be carried out here on the breakout. Mika looking back for Hazard Laser. Who was a bit far ahead of the play, and Krillek goes over to Roar. Roar, he's being forced hard there by Laiku. He's got to be careful as you're watching Hana adapt live once again. Is Laiku being very aggressive, and here he goes on that breakout. They love that pass. Laiku all the way down with speed. He just tried to stuff that 5-hole, but a great save again by Yohoru. Roar curling that around, going up the right-hand boards this time, looking for Bastion. Roar fighting for it, but it's taken away by Laiku. He's been very good as they get it to Hazard. Laser back to Laiku, and he fires that one off the side of the net. Bastion, he's forced hard, back over to Roar. Roar goes back to Bastion. Bastion takes that one in below the goal line. Good stick lift, retrieves it, looks back door, and still news out front. Where's the puck? Is a mash of people, but it ends up getting out to Laiku. Laiku into the slot between the legs, backhand, and he's putting on a show, but so is Yohoru with a great toe save. Puck back to the point. It's going to be wrapped in down low. And loose over to the right-hand side. Mika's going to be first to the puck for Hana. Good job by Bastion. Gets it over the left-hand side to Jazze. Back to the point. Shot is on it. Looks for the tip. The shot drops. And a great save by Simbano. It's going to be worked up the left-hand side. Defense pinching for Almtuna. They know they need one. Good job there by Beast Ben. He gets it up to Bastion. Bastion trying to send one through. He shoots. Great save, Simbano. When the dying seconds of the third period, he makes a crucial save. Laiku now coming in, trying to put the dagger in. Brings it out for Hazard Laser. Does from the high slot. And that's going to be the game.
It took a while, it took a lot of effort, and it maybe had a few scares involved, but HanaaHC finds a way yet again to close this one out, and you really feel for Yoharu on that one. I think he kind of guessed that it was going to go on the pass. Instead, it just went right to the stick of Hazard Laser, and he just had an open net to put that one in, but nevertheless, a great effort from Almtuna. Could have very well had the tying goal. Was not meant to be for them in this one. A great way for HanaaHC to kind of fight their way and get this one.
Like you bringing that out to end the period, but the resilience from Hana to hold on here, Brandon. What a fantastic job by them. And I thought Almtuna was coming back. They were very aggressive. They were doing a very good job in the offensive zone, but not if Hana had to say anything about it. And what a game by Laiku. His defensive and offensive and forecheck was a difference maker in this hockey game, Brandon.
Yeah, it feels like we saw a little bit of everything in this game. In the first period, it felt like it was all Hana. They got those 2 quick goals in the first few minutes, and with the way that first period trended, it was like, oh man, Hana, they could put in 7 or 8 in this game with the way they're just hemming Almtuna in their own zone, creating chances, cycling the puck, and as great as Yoharu had been, it just felt like the way they were putting that pressure on, he could only make so many saves, but boy, oh boy, were we wrong. Almtuna looked like a completely different team in the second and third period. Yoharu continued to make big saves. You saw that big goal there from Bastion trying to get his team back in it. And from that point forward, you kind of felt like, hey, maybe Almtuna can do this, but just couldn't find that second goal. Once again, HanaaHC just finding a way to keep that lead, and they were able to see it through to the end of this game. A great effort from both teams, and what more could you have asked for out of that one?
I think both teams keep their heads held high in this one, Brandon, as Almtuna makes a bit of a statement there and saying, hey, we can hang. They played very good against a team that is now what is that, 8-1, Brandon, looking to go 9-1 in the evening. And when you come from a lower division, you come in here and you play like this against a team like Hana. Both teams coming out of that game should have their heads held very high.
Yeah, and as we mentioned at the beginning, HanaaHC, they were only 1 point behind first going in. So with those 2 points, they're now number one in Group 1. And at bare minimum, they are second because Hawaii Hockey, who's ahead of them, have 10 games. HanaaHC have 9. So therefore, they have that game in hand. That'll be coming up in a minute. They could very well end up first in Group 1. But I think even just as big of a story is what you mentioned, Tegan. Almtuna making a statement, and we kind of talked about it in the open before the series started, but they're a team that had to fight their way to get into the pro division, went through the pro qualifiers. I don't think a lot of people really expected them to make this jump the way they have, but they found a way to do it. They qualified in after winning the core championship, passed by light completely, and they said they wanted to be able to prove themselves worthy of being in this division and being able to compete with a team like HanaaHC that was one of the top teams in this division last season, look like they'll be one of the top teams again this season. That says a lot, and it shows that, hey, we can hang up here, we can maybe knock a few of these teams out, and if things go the right way, if we get on a hot streak, if we start to kind of adjust to the pro level, we can maybe fight for a playoff spot at the end of this thing.
Yeah, I gotta say, a great job by Almtuna. They came out very impressive there. They did not play like a 2-6 hockey team. They have a great chance here in the ECL Pro Division if they're handing games out like that to a team that, just like you said, is going to be a number one or at least a top team in their respective groups here in the ECL Pro. We're going to dive more into this matchup as we have a second game coming up right after we get a word from our sponsor. We are back, Brandon, at sportsgamer.gg in the ECL Pro. I'm Tegan, it's King Lime Blair. He is the amazing Brandon B. Major Bigsby, and we've had some fantastic games tonight, Brandon. It's been all HanaaHC, and they're going to look to take a sweep against Almtuna here in the second series like they did in the first.
Yeah, we saw them go up against Pasilan, and they were able to take both games. And like you said, Tegan, hoping to do so here in the second series. But Almtuna, they're giving a little bit of a fight here. After that first period, they got better and better and better. And something I want to touch on before we put a wrap and a bow here on that first game, or game 3 here for our broadcast. Almtuna, you have to remember, like we mentioned, they were in the core division last season. They finished as the 5th seed, won the championship, and find their way to pro this season. Keep in mind, they skipped light, so this is a team that was playing core division level opponents. They're still adjusting to the skill and the play style of the pro division. It's just 8 games in that they're in. That takes a lot of time to adjust, and it might not be something that many people think about, like, oh, well, if you have the skill and you have the players and you have the skill and the players, but it does take time to adjust to that level of competition. Teams play differently. Teams strategize more, and the skill level and the IQ only gets higher and higher and higher the more you move up the ranks. So for Almtuna, not just to move up 1 division, but to move up 2, and to play the way they did against a team like HanaaHC that was one of the top pro teams last season, one of the top pro teams this season, that really is impressive. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how they look in game 2, because that game 1 showed a lot of promise there those last 40 minutes.
Well, everybody's chasing it down at sportsgamer.gg, and if you're excited to join possibly a 4v4 tournament here in the ECL, everybody from Elite below can join this amazing tournament, and there's some big money on the line here thanks to Sportsgamer, Wilhelm, and the sponsors that you see on your screen. Is there's going to be 10,000 euros here.
Hey, that's a lot of money, and keep in mind, it's ECL Light and below, and not only that, but you don't even have to be signed up for ECL necessarily to participate in this tournament, so you don't have to necessarily be the H-Reds or the Frolundas or the HanaaHCs or the Almtuna Esports of the world.
That's right.
You just grab 2 to 4 buddies, sign up, don't have to be competing in ECL, and you can give yourself a chance to maybe win 10,000 euros, but I think these 2 teams are maybe looking to win a prize of their own here in the ECL Pro, aren't they, Tegan?
They are, that's correct, as it's HanaaHC against Almtuna Esports here in the ECL Pro Division. You just saw their respective lineups in the bottom left and right hand corner of your screen is HanaaHC now in red, coming in and flying as this game gets underway. Puck held in there by Yukis as he fires that one wide. Here's Hazard Laser. Puts that one on net. It goes off a body and wide. Bastion, the goal scorer for Almtuna, trying to get that puck out. Good play by him, and he carries it through. Bastion chops that one in deep into the right hand. Grabbing that one in the right-hand corner, and it's going to be dumped down and all the way around. And the puck's going to be picked up here by Hana. Hana trying to bring that out on the breakout. It goes back to Rip Kesari. Rip Kesari, good play as he gets that one over to Yuki. Yuki's on the breakout, taking their time. They have Mika wrapped behind. Great play on the breakout with the give and go, and they get entry. Here's Yuki. Goes back to Rip Kesari. Back to Yuki's. Yuki's all alone in the slot. Decides to go back to where he belongs at the point. There's Hazard Laser. Back there, and there's Yuki's keeping that puck in. That's why he's back there, as Laiku gives that one away to Bastion, but a great poke again by Yuki's. Mika sends that one back with a rip one-timer from Rip Kesari, but a great save by Yori Horo, and he continues to make fantastic saves as he makes another one in front and a third, and he's going to hold on with 11 to go in the first period.
And breathe if you're Yohoru. He has made big save after big save after big save. You're going to be saying his name in your sleep tonight, Tegan, with how much his name has been called. Don't blame him for freezing that one and going on to the next play. And you got to wonder how long he can keep this up. And he has just been a man on a mission between the pipes for Almtuna.
Has he ever? I'm going to be rolling over in my sleep. It'll be Yohoru or Esko Tika, depending on which side I'm on with the games that these gentlemen are playing tonight. As that face-off is going to be won by Anna. Right inside is Laiku, goes back to the point. It's going to be Yuki's. Yuki's fires that one on. It's blocked there by Ben. And Bastion clears that one out, but Yuki's trying to bring it back in with force. He's fighting Roar. That one's turned over, and they score. Is a little bit of a broken play, but Hazard Laser puts that one in the back of the net.
HanaaHC doing what they do best, just finding that opening when they get into the offensive zone and get things going. And I know you kind of mentioned that being a little bit of a broken play. Kind of looked like Yoharu was in position there to get that save, but wasn't able to get the animation. Kind of just slid from one post to the other. Never really had his goalie make a true play on that puck, and it benefits HanaaHC. They see the puck go in the net, and how many times have we seen this too? A 1-0 lead to start in the first period for HanaaHC.
As the captain, Hazard Laser, coming out and getting a goal for his team, and we just saw Jazzy get absolutely smoked by Rip Kesari. He's going to be injured here, so keep an eye on that, Brandon, as Ben wraps that one back to Krillet, back to Ben. Over to the injured Jazzy, who moves that one up to Bastion to Roar. Roar gets bumped down low. We're going to see a penalty here, and maybe Roar activating, getting things started here.
Yeah, it's going to be the man that just scored the goal wildly enough that is going to find himself in the box in Hazard. So now you have the right winger off the ice, and your captain, Hana, going to have to find a way to show up big on a penalty kill against an Almtuna team that kind of started to see some momentum going for themselves. So a little bit of confidence starting to generate would be huge if they could find a way to tie this up here in the first.
There's a big tie-up, and the puck's going to be carried out. Good play by Yuki as he drops that one over to Mika. As we have another delayed penalty here, Brandon, so we will possibly see some 4-on-4 hockey, but Hana doing a great penalty kill here as they're just holding on to the puck. The puck's going to be brought in now. Here's Laiku. Drops that one back to the point. Still holding on to it is Yuki's. Yuki's good pass over. It's tipped on and over the net. Behind the net, we're going to see Simbanho get into the play. That one's played all the way down, and it is going to be a full power play here for Hana's. What a penalty kill that was. Textbook. As that puck's going to be dumped in deep. Here's Laiku first on the puck. Tries to force that one out front. He can't get it through two bodies, and we're going to see Hana go to the power play with 4 minutes to go in the first.
maybe a slight sidebar here, but I have to say, I don't think there's anything as impressive to see than a team starting out on the penalty kill, drawing a penalty early, killing off all of the time of their own penalty to where it would have been 4-on-4, and earning themselves an entire power play. A dominant PK from HanaaHC, and now they earn themselves a power play to really extend this lead out. What a sequence there from this team. Wow.
Puck going to be brought in here by Ripke. Sorry, it's poke checked off his stick, and back is going to be his partner, Yuki's. Yuki's back to Ripke. Sorry to Yuki's, and up to Laiku. You notice Roar playing up on Laiku there, Brandon, as I think he's had enough already of Laiku coming in on Will. As that shot's on by Laiku, blocked by Roars. The power play strong with Hana. As Hana's going to start out from their own end. But watch Roar on this right-hand side. You see how much higher up he's playing there, Brandon. As Laiku walks in, passes over, but Yuki's shot is blocked. Puck's going to be carried out by Ben. Ben over to the left-hand side to Krillette. Krillette and Roar on a 2-on-1 as both defenders on a 2-on-1 going the other way. Puck through the middle is going to be Mika. Mika drops that one for Yuki's. Yuki's puts that one on. It's loose in front and they score, but I think that one's going to be called back.
Yeah, that was going to be goalie interference and then some, so HanaaHC will not be able to celebrate for too long, but something I kind of wanted to touch on that you mentioned on, and I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit more as we near closer to the intermission. The right defenseman for Almtuna, Roar, really stepping up. This is going to be interesting because we kind of saw that happen in the first series with Paselanska and Hana, to where your boy was stepping up on that same side that was really working for him, where he was creating turnovers and stopping that breakout on the right boards on your screen over to Laiku, and it's really started to work now for Almtuna in the same way, with Roar getting aggressive, pressing up a little bit, and as a result of that, you're even seeing him press up a little bit offensively now as well. So I think you mentioned, Tegan, that's going to be something to watch, and it's almost something you kind of wonder, is it something that maybe teams are seeing a little bit with HanaaHC, that they really favor that right side, or their left side rather, that teams are kind of keying in on that and making them switch to something else?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's beneficial, Brandon, about watching the cast, is you can learn so much as we see that amazing pass go right between the legs and a stick. Wow. And into the back of the net. But Brandon, they definitely do love going to Laiku on that side, and you're exactly right. Roar is taking that side just like we saw in game number 1, where it was your boy who was standing up, like you said, and getting in that lane. So we'll see if it continues here in period number 2 in the ECL Pro. Hana going against Almtuna. As Hana in red, Almtuna in white. You see the respective lineups in the bottom left and right-hand corner of your screen. If you're curious who's playing, you'll hear them on the cast. I'm It's King Line. He is B Major. That one shot on and they score is an early goal by Mika, coming down and doing it all himself, Brandon.
And Mika has just been all over the ice in these 4 games today, and he might have gotten a little bit of favor his way. It looked like it went off of the pad of Yoharu and then off of the post and in, so it might have taken a few bounces, but you know what they say, they don't ask how, they ask how many. Mika with yet another goal today, and a big goal there for HanaaHC to double their lead 2-0.
Mika doing a very good job tonight. He's got lots of points, lots of goals, Brandon. Really putting the puck in the back of the net. He's got the hot twig tonight, as we're going to see a power play here for Almtuna. Maybe they can come back.
And that couldn't have come at much of a better time for Almtuna. Right after Hana got that goal to make it 2-0, Almtuna sees themselves with a chance to maybe cut that deficit back in half, similarly to what they did in game 1. They're going to have to improve on that power play, though. It's almost a power kill, I guess you could call it, for HanaaHC last time. Almtuna going to have to find a way to get some chances for themselves and take advantage of this opportunity.
Sebastian puts that one in behind the net. Ben trying to force that one through, but Simbano holds on, and we haven't heard much from him tonight. Well, yeah, sorry, not in this game, I should reiterate. In game 1, he was very, 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 very solid. But game 2, it's been a little quiet in the offensive zone for Almtuna, Brennan.
Yeah, but it's a product of what HanaaHC has done defensively
Correct.
in front of them. It's never a slide on the goalie if you don't hear
No.
their name, because usually if you do, it's either for one reason. They made a save or they allowed a goal. So if you're not hearing the name, it's a credit to the defense in front of them. So I don't think Simbano is going to complain too much. His team's up 2-0. The team's playing great in front of him. They've made his job pretty easy so far, but Almtuna, if they can turn it up the way they did in that first game, we'll be hearing his name called a little bit here to go as we enter the halfway point.
Simbano just sitting back and watching the textbook mixture of trap, hockey, and forward check, which I've loved to see at Hana tonight, as well as that shot is on. A pass over to Jazzy, puts that on, and Simbano's got to make a good save there, Brandon.
We heard his name then, and he had to stay sharp on this one, right? As it felt like Hana was maybe going on the counterattack. Almtuna finding a way to go back into the offensive zone and got a really quick chance for themselves there. Chance here to get maybe another one would be huge if they get a goal.
Look on the right-hand side. Here's Roar. Roar behind the net. He turns that one over. Laiku ahead to Jazzy. Jazzy drops that one back. It's going to be turned over back into the neutral zone. D-to-D pass. Yuki's. Yuki's, what a saucer pass, finding Laiku. Laiku sends that one in deep. Mika's going to give chase, but first to it is Krillit and Roar. Roar moves that one around to Ebastion. Goes up to Ben. Ebastion, the lone goal scorer for Almtuna. Game number 1, though. Maybe look to him to get them started here in game number 2. Here's Jazzy. Looks over to try to find Ebastion. Good pick off by Yuki's, who goes up to Laiku. Laiku turned over. And Ben sends it up to Roar. Roar activating now. Gets in deep behind the goal line. Stops up. Looks for a lane. Wraps that behind the net. It's going to be thrown out front, but it's off the back of the net there by Ebastion. Ebastion walks out. He had a lane and he lost the puck. Might have been a great poke check by the defense there of Hana. And we're going to see a step here for Laiku. Oh, what a move by... Oh, what a goal as Laiku with the kick toe play between the legs and beats Yohoru.
Move that flowed ever so well like a haiku from Laiku, and that might be the prettiest play we've seen so far in pro season. And I think everyone gonna take a chance, pause, collect themselves, because a show-stopping play from Laiku to make it 3-0. What a move to get that goal there, Tegan. Wow.
What an unbelievable move, Brandon. We see the little Pavel Bure toe kick and then between the legs, and just that was phenomenal. It's the show within the show, Brando.
Hey, you gotta show the flash in a little bit sometimes, you know? You gotta give a little bit of razzle-dazzle in there. Laiku did that and then some, and it's even sweeter when you can do so with the lead and extend that lead for your team right there. A great job there from Laiku, and HanaaHC benefiting from it with a 3-0 lead. Almtuna really gonna have to find an answer here soon.
Is Hana just putting the pressure on, as his team must be fired up after that, Brandon. When your teammate scores a goal like that, everybody in the room gets fired up, as that puck's going to be brought in here by Hazard Laser. Wraps it around to Laiku. Up the right-hand side, Roar, Ebastion, good pass to Jazzy. That one forced out front. It's turned over. Laiku trying to go the other way as Mr. Soft Hands tries to collect a pass, but it's going to be taken away by Roar. Roar up the right-hand side. Ebastion, he comes over and he's offside.
5:52 to go. Almtuna, they have some time to maybe mark a comeback here in this game. 25 plus minutes to go. 3 goals, not out of the question, but they're going to have to find a way to get some offense going. Outside of that one goal in game 1, there hasn't been a lot for them in terms of finding the puck in the net. If they can get one here, they can have a chance, but going to have to find a way to score a little bit more consistently what they have so far in this series to get back into it.
Spin pass by Laiku is... That one pops out in front. Ben goes the other way. Almtuna definitely not out of this yet. As good passing as that one gets all the way through, they score! As just like that, Brandon, they're not out of it yet. And Beast Ben puts one in the back of the net.
He had been a little bit quiet to this point, but Beast Ben saying, allow me to reintroduce myself, the captain himself leading his team back into this game at a critical point, down 3-0. Like we mentioned, a lot of time left. They could get one goal going into this third period. They do so right there on the stick of the captain, and it couldn't have come at a bigger or better point for Almtuna. With 3:06 to go, still time for them to maybe get one more here if they play their cards right.
Big tie up as that puck pops out to Hana, and Hana's going to want to get out of this period, Brandon, and with the score still 3-1 or 4-1, or maybe that'll help as a good draw by Laiku, and for the rest of this period, we're going to see Hana on the power play.
Yeah, and very beneficial there for Hana. They let up that goal, but they get a chance to get it back on what's been a phenomenal power play night for them so far between these 3.5 games. But something to keep in mind on this power play, the fast minute at the end of the second period. So really just going to be about 1:30. You have to take advantage of every opportunity they get here, Hana is.
Puck clapped all the way down the ice. It's a good start for Almtuna, and that kills about 30 seconds off the power play. As here comes Hana. Into the zone is Yukis. Yukis threads the needle, but no connect. Is puck back to the point. There's Kesari. They play that give and go, and we see that a ton in Euro esports here, Brandon. That give and go at the point, it works so often, as that one goes off the bar and out.
Yeah, and you sort of alluded to it earlier, and Hana has used that play a few times, scored on it actually earlier tonight in their first series against Pasalan. So we've seen them utilize that D2D, and they're able to get all 6 involved, or all 5 involved, and really get some scoring based off of that. You see that segment right there to where they're able to kind of get that cycle going. It really helps them out, and it really kind of opens that space up for their 3-4s that work so well together as a trio.
As hold on with us here, guys. We've just got a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll get that game popped right back up here for you. All right, please stand by. Guys, 1 period remaining still as and it's been a very, very good matchup. It's unfortunate that it's cut off here, Brandon, but Almtuna was crawling back. They were getting themselves set up here.
Yeah, as we will have the end of the second period, as we might not be able to see it. We can hear the buzzer that signifies that as Almtuna. We kind of talked about it. They are trying to find ways to march back, and it's kind of one of those things to where they keep going no matter what the score is, no matter what momentum HanaaHC seems to have. They find a way to at least get themselves back into it and get themselves into a situation where they make this a game. They go into this third period only down by 2, 20 minutes left. It's just 1 goal every 10 minutes, Tegan, and that's plenty doable, especially if Almtuna can find that scoring touch that they've found at certain spurts, but haven't been able to consistently find. We'll see if they can do that here in the third period and maybe salvage themselves some points for the night.
Well, you might just get, it might just be a little radio call for the last period. Something we've never done here before, as we have had a great stream here, Brandon. It's been an absolute blast here at Sports Gamer GG. Sometimes this stuff happens when you're putting on high-intensity broadcasts like this, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know, it's just the magic and wonders of live streaming, so to speak. You never know what can happen at any point. Sometimes things happen really all of a sudden that you hope wouldn't, but it's all just a part of it. Just have to go on the fly and adapt. And speaking of adapting, how about HanaaHC? We can maybe take a page out of their book about adapting well, the way they have been able to adjust to really everything thrown at them as Almtuna trying to find a way to get back into this game down by 2, but should be interesting to see if they can find a way to do so here in the third.
As you'll get a little bit of radio action, guys. If you want to hang around for the last 16 minutes, I will still call the game for you in the most descriptive ability I can to keep it on the radio, as we might have it on your screen here, is if we can get confirmation from behind the scenes to know that you guys can see it, and we are back and ready to go. And just like that, We've got our third period set up, 16 minutes to go. It's still a 3-1 game. You are here at the ECL Pro. We want to thank our amazing people behind the scenes at Sports Gamer GG to keep things alive. As that puck is going to be picked up by Krillet, he sends it all the way down the ice, and a power play here for Hana continues. Puck is going to be brought in. And it's going to be a 5-on-3 now here, Brandon, for Hana.
Yeah, this is a huge opportunity for Hana. Not what Almtuna needed at all, trying to kind of set their way to a comeback. Like we mentioned, taking a penalty is one thing, but now a 5-on-3. Plenty of space on the ice for HanaaHC to work with, and we know how dangerous they are when they have that space to cycle it around. Going to be a big-time PK here for Almtuna to kill off.
That puck is going to be picked up in the neutral zone here by Rip Kesari, bringing that one in. Like you trying to get a chance. That one's poked off. Back to the point here. Power play starts here for Hana. As 1 minute left here on the 5-on-4. The 5-on-3 has been killed off by Almtuna. Puck back to the point. D-to-D. Rip Kesari. Rip Kesari. Back over to Yuki's. Yuki spin passes back door. And I'm not sure if the goaltender got a piece of that, Brandon, or it was blocked in front. But what a play nonetheless.
Looked like it was blocked by Krillet there, the left defenseman. Got in front of that play and didn't let his goaltender go hard. You see it. We talk about that all the time, Tegan. Not letting your goalie see that high-quality shot. A great example of that there from Krillet.
Here's Laiku. He tries to send that one ahead. It goes off of Mika and ends up all the way down the ice. Here's Roar. Here's Laiku in front of Mika. That one shot on and blocked, and Roar carries that one ahead. We're going to see a breakaway here for Sebastian, but a diving poke check. What a save by Simbano, keeping this a 3-1 game, and that could have changed everything, Brandon, if that one would have went in.
Oh, and it was a beautiful breakout play as well there from Almtuna. Probably the best breakout we've seen, the cleanest breakout we've seen from them all series long, but just finding a way to make that save was Simbano. We said we hadn't called his name much, but that changed with a play like that right there. A big-time save that maybe changes the course of this game.
Puck's going to be dumped around, and Almtuna is not out of this. Their pressure has been great, Brandon, and lots to build on. As what a spin by Jazze. That one's up the right-hand side to Roar. Roar trying to bring that one in. It's going to be carried in by Sebastian. Over to Jazze. Back to Roar. Roar on the sidewall, trying to force that one through. It's poke checked out by Laiku, and Laiku definitely the MVP here for Hana in these 4 games as he drops that one back to Rip Kesari. He sets up for the one-timer. It goes all the way past Mika, and we're going to see another breakaway the other way. No, we're not. Is what a pickoff by Rip Kesari. Here, Rip Kesari comes in, shot in front. It's loose and picked up by Almtuna. As pressure is fierce at both ends still with an offside with 5 to go in the third period.
And a word you mentioned earlier, Tegan, aggression. You're seeing the sense of urgency from Almtuna really ramp up the more this game goes on. You're seeing the 2 wingers kind of camp up a little bit higher in the zone. They're not really coming back as much. They know they need 2 goals, and the time isn't on their side. So you're seeing them jet off to go in for offense really about as fast as they can. Don't be shocked if you see a Omaha play here sooner rather than later. They actually won in overtime in the Core Championship and clinched that from an Omaha play to Jazze, but a goal like that going to stop all efforts now.
Well, that is going to really shut it down for Almtuna, like you just said. As what a goal, as that one's going to be brought all the way in and just slid right under the goaltender's pad. That's going to be Mika for his second of the game.
Yeah, you know, I know you mentioned that you could see Laiku as an MVP for today, but I think Mika has a great case for that title as well. A second goal for him in this game, and man, I'd have to say maybe a 7th goal for him today in general. He's just been all over the ice, both offensively and defensively. It feels like whenever HanaaHC needs a play, Mika has been the guy to make that play happen for them. And just goes to show you, like we said, HanaaHC is such a deep team where everyone can contribute to make plays happen. Showing that here so far today and really closing that out here in Game 4 against Almtuna.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They could probably both wear the belt in this one. They've been very, very good. Here's Ben in front, and he's robbed there by Simbano.
And Simbano with a huge save. They might have the game's result in hand, but you never want to allow another goal if you don't have to. You never know what can happen, and hey, that save percentage is always going to look nice as well more times than not when you only allow one. So another great save from Simbano, and I think we have to give him his credit as well. It was a pretty monstrous goaltending performance that he had to follow up from the first series. He's done so pretty valiantly so far.
That one's going to be dumped all the way down. Shot on. And it's in front. Here's Ben. And that one's all the way down for icing. 52 seconds left.
Yeah, Almtuna just maybe trying to find a little bit of momentum here. Maybe not to change the result of this game, but to carry forward, as we kind of talked about earlier after their first game. Some positives to take through. Just a HanaaHC team is so good as a chance here for them.
Puck's going to be brought in here by Hana, looking to close out this last 40 seconds with a statement. Puck over on the right-hand side. Sebastian looks into the middle. Taken away there by Beast Ben. As we round out the last 30 seconds here, that one sauced up the right-hand side. Sebastian. Good pass back to the D. That one in the middle to Ben, as that one's high and wide, but you know, Almtuna has been very, very good here, Brandon. You know, coming into this division, or into the ECL Pro, they've got lots to build on here going against an Almtuna team. But we're going to see Laiku all alone. Final play of the game, and he scores!
And who said you can't have enough goals, Tegan? You got to keep putting them on if you can. And HanaaHC do so right there on the stick of Laiku. And you see Laiku make a lot of beautiful plays. He just puts the cherry on top of another one there on the breakaway. Just finds his way past the goaltender in Yoharu, and not much you can do there as a goalie on that play. And HanaaHC with just a fitting end to what's been a great night for them. A 5-1 victory here over Almtuna Esports. Well deserved for them to get 8 out of 8 points.
And that does it for the end of the game. And what an amazing set of games for HanaaHCs. They came out with 2 massive W's to start things off against a very aggressive team in Pasilan Ska, and then they've come out against Almtuna Esport to collect 2 more W's. And what a game this was here for HanaaHC, Brendan.
And they played 2 teams that might not be at the top of the respective table, but 2 teams that were really hungry to make a statement for themselves. And honestly, those are the teams that sometimes you have to watch out for even just a little bit more than some of the teams that you would typically expect, because that team you're playing has a chip on their shoulder. And you look at 2 teams that were not in ECL Pro last season, both of them actually coming from the core division. The core division. And now you look at it, and all of a sudden, you saw Pasilan, even though they struggled at the beginning, they continued to get better. You saw Almtuna, even though they struggled in the beginning, continued to get better. And Hana was tested a little bit at certain points, especially by Almtuna here in this series especially, but just found ways to keep themselves ahead, not get behind in games, not let a team get too close to feeling themselves and getting that momentum going for themselves. And whenever they needed that one goal, that big play, they just found a way to make it happen. Those are the teams that know how to win, know how to find ways to win, and know how to get past adversity. Hana showed a little bit of everything today. 8 out of 8 points come out of it. Well deserved by all 6 guys.
You know what, Brandon? I swear, Hana looks like they're the type of team where if they're not in the sticks, they're out at the ST hockey rink, dipping Wilhelm sausages in Kovalon Lockerty and just pumping it up and firing it on at all cylinders as they come in and get 4 massive W's tonight. And I believe that takes them to first overall in their respective group.
It does. They were first overall after their first win, and now they're comfortably first overall over Sinister as things stand. As right now, HanaaHC maybe looking like the best team in Pro, and I'm looking at it right now. Not only are they first overall in Group 1, they're first overall in all of Pro. No team has more points in the standings as of now with 18 than HanaaHC does. So well deserved for them. We obviously have a contender that we've seen today, and right, I think we kind of have to go back one more time to the 2 teams that they faced against. Firstly, with their first opponent that we saw earlier in Pasilan, they played well. Maybe a team that we didn't really know what to expect out of, but kind of showed some glimpses of a team that could maybe push for a playoff spot this season. And for Almtuna, the same thing. And
Yeah,
both these teams, like we said, weren't in pro last season. And
right.
especially from Almtuna, Pasilan, they had a little bit of pro experience. A few guys coming over from Hotbox, a team that was in pro last season, didn't have the most success, but has that experience. Almtuna not just going up one division, but going up two, having to play at that higher level, adjust to that level, adjust to the competition you're playing, and to go out and really compete toe to toe with a team like HanaaHC that has the experience, has the success with one of the best teams in the pro division last season, looks to be so again this season.
Right.
Really, really impressed with what they showed despite not getting the victory. I think if they can continue to get that experience, continue to play well, and kind of figure out what the formula is to win games in this level of competition,
Exactly
look
right.
out for them to maybe be in that conversation for one of those last playoff spots. I'm not saying they get there. They still have some improvements to make, obviously, but considering where they were and where they came from, being one of the more interesting stories coming in, really was impressed with them. But the
Right.
story today, all about Hana and their dominance today, just a great performance. And like I said, Tegan, I think you'd agree. I think they're a contender to maybe make it to that elite division.
I couldn't agree more. And if you would like to see some elite hockey tomorrow, you definitely can. Is Wednesday. You will be able to tune in with my good friends Tugi and Sin and be able to catch some great elite hockey at 1945 Central European time, as we're going to see Orbreo hockey against HV71 and Conquer Gaming against Fallen Coal Miners. So again, you guys will be able to catch that Wednesday, April 13th at 1945 CES. So make sure you guys catch that exciting action in the ECL Elite. And then if you would like to come back next Tuesday for the ECL Pro, you'll be able to find myself and Brandon right back here doing this once again, Brandon. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow as well for the elite matchups that you have on your screen.
Absolutely, and that's going to be two really fun matchups. A few teams that were here last season and didn't really have the best seasons they were hoping for, but are hoping to elevate a little bit, maybe push for the playoffs, especially teams like Orlebro Hockey and Conquer Gaming, who were kind of in that mix for a little bit, but fell down a little bit. And like I
Yeah.
said, Fallen Coal Miners, they're a team that's really going to be fun to watch, a team that hasn't competed in years, come back this season, form a pretty interesting team. A lot of veterans, a few guys that come over from Granite Gaming from last season, a team that was in the top four. That's a team that is kind of a mystery, so we'll get our first look at them. So if you want more action, if you want to see a lot of fun, a lot of exciting hockey, nowhere better to be than right here tomorrow at twitch.tv/sportsgamergg. And Tugi and Sin on the call as well, just an extra bonus. So I know I'll be
Exactly.
watching. Really encourage anyone else looking for some more hockey right here to watch as well.
As I want to thank Brandon B. Major Bigsby for being with us tonight. Obviously, everybody behind the scenes at sportsgamer.gg and our amazing production crew. And this has been the ECL Pro. Thank you to our amazing sponsors at Wilhelm, at Kovalang Lakritzi, and at ST Hockey. And you heard it here from Brandon. There is no better place to be than sportsgamer.gg. Have an amazing night, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.